Hi, my name is Yíng and welcome to Dr. Gao's classroom. I'm a professional philosopher and I love classical Chinese poetry. I have been translating classical Chinese poetry for the last few years with a colleague of mine. I would love to share my knowledge on the subject with you. Your enjoyment is my command. I have done several videos about Bai Ju-yi and his poetry so far. In my videos, I told you about his tragic love affair with his childhood girlfriend Xiang. I also translated several of his poems for Xiang, and a poem he composed for a woman who ran away with her boyfriend and was eventually abandoned. I also made a video interviewing my collaborator, Dr. David Musgrave, about Bai Ju-yi's masterpiece in the title of 长恨歌, or the Eternal Regret. Today, I'm going to continue Bai Ju-yi's life story and translate another of his love poem. Bai Ju-yi was one of the few poets who were successful in both his political career and as a poet. He was already famous during his lifetime for his literary talent and his epic poems about war, romantic love, as well as the suffering of the common people. By the time he passed away in 846 AD, at the advantaged age of 75, even the then Emperor Li Chen composed a poem to commemorate his passing. I won't translate the emperor's poem character by character, but I'll read both the Chinese text and our translation of the poem later in this video. Bai Ju-yi was probably the most prolific poet of his time, leaving us with more than 3,000 poems and essays today, and more than 1,000 quotes from his poetry are integrated in everyday language today. This is probably due to the fact that Bai Ju-yi made sure that even the illiterate commoner of his day could understand his poetry. No wonder he is so loved by not only the common people in China, but also people in Japan, Korea, and Vietnam. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, or medical literature. If you like the contents of these videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. If you would like to read the original text with me, please contact me. Here's my email address. Now, let's go back to Bai Ju-yi. The time Bai Ju-yi lived was a politically turbulent time. During his 40 years of political career, he served 8 emperors. It was quite clear that being an emperor was one of the most dangerous jobs in the world because you can't quit the job until you die. And the average career life during this time is about 5 years. Some of the emperors were diligent ones who made every effort to hold the empire together. For instance, the first emperor Bai Ju-yi served was Li Chen. Emperor Li Chen tried everything to reduce the power of the governor-generals. However, he failed miserably because the governor-generals were simply too powerful. Emperor Li Chen was forced to apologize to the governor-generals by issuing a 罪己诏, or self-criticizing decree. Here is the short video where I explain this story. Li Quan's successor, Emperor Li Chen, tried to do the same thing with some success. In my video in the title of A Reply of a Chaste Wife, I talked about a Governor-General Li Shidao's attempt to sabotage Emperor Li Chen's effort by assassinating the premier Wu Yuanheng and the Auditor-General Pei Du in 815 AD. Emperor Li Chen was able to defeat Li Shidao and his allies' rebellion. However, Emperor Li Chen was murdered by eunuch in 820 AD. The following two emperors were both incompetent and neglected the state affairs. It was when Emperor Liang took the crown, things became a little better. The 17-year-old Liang assumed the throne in 827 AD with the help of a powerful eunuch Wang Shoucheng. However, due to his age and how much he relied on this eunuch, he was controlled by Wang Shoucheng. Of course, as he grew up, he was not happy about it. 4 years later, Emperor Liang conspired with his premier Song Shenxi to take down eunuch Wang Shoucheng and his associates. However, this conspiracy was leaked to Wang Shoucheng. Wang Shoucheng framed Song Shenxi for conspiring with another prince to replace the Emperor Liang, and Emperor Liang fell for it and exiled Song Shenxi, who died on his exile. In 835 AD, Emperor Liang made another attempt to get rid of another eunuch who succeeded Wang Shoucheng named Qiu Shiliang, but again failed. This event led to thousands of scholar officials and commoners died. It was known as 甘露之变, or the Sweet Dew Coup. Things were so bad at the time that many scholar officials would say farewell and organize their own funerals before they went to work, because it might be the last time they saw their family. I might make a video about this event in the future. So, what was Bai Ju-yi doing during this chaotic time? Well, he was appointed as the Governor-General at Hangzhou, thousands of miles away from the capital, and was carrying out his duty diligently, winning the affection of the locals. He was also enjoying a rather peaceful time there. He even managed to meet his beloved Xiangling for the last time. It was during this time he composed the following lovely poem in the title of 采莲曲, or a song of Lotus Picking, maybe remembering the tender love he has for Xiangling during his youth. Let me read 采莲曲 in Chinese first. 林叶迎波荷载风，荷花深处小船通。逢郎欲语低头笑，碧玉搔头落水中。Now, let's look at the first two lines. 林叶迎波荷载风，荷花深处小船通。líng refers to water chestnut. 叶 means leaf. 迎 means coil. 波 means wave. 荷 means lotus. zhǎn means quiver. Fēng means wind. 荷 means lotus again. 花 means flower. 深处 literally means deep in something. But here, 深 is used to show how large the lotus and the flowers are. So David and I interpreted 深处 as the word to show lustrous lotus. 小 means small. 船 means boat. 通 literally means connected or come through. But here it is used to describe the scene when a small boat emerges from the lustrous lotus flowers. So we translate 通 as part. So the two lines read, water chestnut leaves coils in waves. The lotus quivers in wind. A small boat passed the last lotus flowers. 逢郎欲语低头笑，碧玉搔头落水中。逢 means meet. 郎 means young man. It is also used by young women as an endearing name for their husband, like darling in English. So we translate it as darling. 欲 means want to. yu means talk, di means lower, tou means head, xiào means giggle. But in our translation, we moved the act of giggling to the next line so that the lines read better. Bai Ju means emerald, shēn means scratch, tōng means head. But we translate xiao as hairpin. The Chinese character for hairpin usually is zhǎn, but the ladies also use hairpin to scratch their head. So zhǎn is also called xiao. Luo means fall, shuǐ means water, zhōng means middle. So luo something zhōng can be translated as fall into something. So the two lines read, when she meets her darling, she wants to talk but lowered her head and giggles. Her emerald hairpin falls into the water. This is one of the rare love poems expressing happy feelings of romantic love. The young girl in the poem was a simple girl who had to collect lotus seed for a living, but she was happy. She was secretly in love with the young man she met, but was too shy to talk to him. But from her reaction described in the poem, her affection was probably reciprocated. She was so excited that he was just as happy to see her as she him. So much so, she forgot she was wearing her precious emerald hairpin, which fell into the water when she suddenly lowered her head to hide her giggles. We can imagine that the young man probably just jumped into the water to find the hairpin for her. What a lovely encounter! It was quite interesting that Bai Ju-yi was enjoying this pleasant life while all hell broke loose at the capital. When Bai Ju-yi finally returned to the capital in 827 AD, things settled down quite a bit. Prince Liang just became the new emperor with the support of Wang Shoucheng. Emperor Liang, although quite young, was a responsible one. He loved literature and history. He was determined to become a sage emperor. It might be because of this, talented scholar officials such as Bai Ju-yi and his friend Yuan Zhen was called back to the capital and assigned important positions for them. During the following 15 years, Bai Ju-yi, by luck or his political acumen, was able to avoid all the traps and pitfalls many scholar officials fell into and lost their lives and families. Bai Ju-yi was able to manage to rise to the very top of the bureaucratic rank as the deputy premier and minister of justice, and retired at the age of 70. I have to say that was a quite accomplishment. When Bai Ju-yi passed away, the then Emperor Li Chen composed the following poem to mourn his passing. I'll read the poem in Chinese and our translation. 坠玉连珠60年，谁教名禄作诗仙？浮云不计名居易，造化无为自乐天。童子解吟长恨曲，胡儿能唱琵琶篇。文章已满行人耳，一度诗清一创然。You strung together jade and pearls for 60 years. Who commanded you to become a poetic immortal in the netherworld? Not to be tied down by power and fame, you named yourself as being at ease. The great transformation does nothing because you styled yourself as enjoying the nature. Even children know to recite the ballad of eternal regret, and the Huns can sing the Pipa song. Your beautiful poetry fills up the ears of all walks of life. Every time I think of you, my heart breaks again." The emperor was certainly impressed by Bai Ju-yi's literary achievement and praised his great work. However, he said nothing about his political achievement. This is rather interesting. During the last 15 years of his political career, Bai Ju-yi became more and more important. Yet, we know very little what he was doing. I would talk a bit more of the political turmoil during those years in my next video on poetry. I'm going to introduce a new poet named Li Chen, who was known for his poetry for romantic love. Li Chen was caught in the political turmoil and paid a hefty price for his naivety in politics. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, or medical literature. If you like the content of these videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. If you would like to read the original text with me, please contact me. Here's my email address. Thanks for watching my video. I'll see you next time.